The crowd noise hit Lisa Morgan like a wave as she walked down the long metal corridor toward the arena. Her boots made sharp sounds on the floor with each step. The walls were covered with screens showing alien faces from 100 different worlds. All of them were watching her. Lisa stopped at the heavy doors that led to the fighting ring. She could hear thousands of voices on the other side. Some were cheering. Some were making sounds she did not understand. She took a deep breath and checked her gear one more time. Her uniform was simple blue and white, the colors of Earth. On her chest was a small patch with the planet she called home. It looked very small compared to the bright armor and strange clothes worn by fighters from other worlds. But Lisa was proud of it. She had trained for 6 months to get ready for this day. Every morning she woke up before sunrise to run 10 miles. She lifted weights until her muscles burned. She studied videos of alien fighting styles until her eyes hurt, all for this moment. The doors opened with a loud sound. Light poured in from the arena. Lisa walked forward and stepped onto the fighting platform. The noise became even louder. She looked up and saw seats that went up so high she could barely see the top. Thousands of aliens filled every space. Their eyes, some with 2, some with 4, some with more, all looked down at her. In the center of the arena was a large circle marked with glowing lines. This was where she would fight, where she would either win honor for humanity or lose everything they had worked for. Admiral Jake Harrison sat in the observation area with the other humans who had come to watch. His face was tight with worry. He had not wanted Lisa to enter this tournament. It was too dangerous, he had said. The other fighters were too strong, but Lisa had convinced him. Someone had to represent Earth. Someone had to show the galaxy that humans were not weak. Across the arena, in seats decorated with red banners, sat the Vrikari delegation. The Vrikari were tall aliens with dark green skin covered in scales. Their eyes were yellow and their teeth were sharp. They had won this tournament 7 years in a row. Their fighter was the champion. War Chief Thorgrim stood up in his special seat. He was the leader of the Vrikari delegation. His voice boomed across the arena through speakers built into the walls. "People of the galaxy," he said, "today you will see why the Vrikari are the greatest warriors in all known space. Our champion will face this small human female. Watch how quickly she falls." The crowd made different sounds. Some laughed, some hissed. Some made noises Lisa had never heard before. She felt her face get hot with anger, but she kept it inside. She would show them what humans could do. A door on the other side of the arena opened. Out walked Korthak the Destroyer. He was huge, even for a Vrikari. His scales were almost black and covered with scars from many battles. His arms were as thick as Lisa's waist. When he walked, the platform shook a little under his weight. He carried no weapons. Neither did Lisa. This was hand-to-hand combat only. The rules were simple. Fight until one person could not get up anymore. Korthak looked at Lisa and made a sound that might have been laughter. To him, she probably looked like a child. Lisa was 5 feet and 6 inches tall. Korthak was almost 8 feet tall. Lisa weighed 140 pounds. Korthak probably weighed 400 pounds. But Lisa had something Korthak did not expect. She had studied him. She had watched every fight he had ever been in. She knew he was strong and fast, but she also knew he was used to winning quickly. He had never been in a long fight. His opponents always gave up or got knocked out in the first few minutes. The referee was a tall, thin alien with blue skin. He raised one of his forearms. The crowd got quiet. "Fighters ready," he said in a voice that echoed through the arena. Lisa got into her fighting position. She had learned this from studying martial arts on Earth. Her feet were apart, her hands were up, her body was balanced. She looked calm, but inside her heart was beating fast. Korthak just stood there with his arms at his sides. He was not even trying to look ready. This made the crowd laugh again. "Begin," said the referee. Korthak moved faster than Lisa expected. For something so big, he was very quick. He rushed toward her with his arms reaching out to grab her. But Lisa was ready. She rolled to the side just as he got to her. Korthak's hands closed on empty air. He turned around to face her again. This time his yellow eyes looked more serious. Lisa did not wait for him to attack again. She ran forward and jumped, aiming. A kick at his knee. Her boot connected with his leg, but it was like kicking a tree. Korthak barely moved. He swung his arm down at her. Lisa barely got out of the way. His fist hit the platform where she had been standing. The metal made a loud ringing sound. For the next few minutes they moved around each other like dancers. Lisa would attack and then move away before Korthak could grab her. She hit him many times, but her punches and kicks did not seem to hurt him much. His skin was too thick and his muscles were too strong. But Lisa could see that she was making him tired. He was not used to chasing someone around the ring. His breathing was getting heavier. Sweat was starting to show on his scaled skin. The crowd was getting excited. They had expected this fight to be over in seconds. But the little human was still moving, still fighting. Some aliens started cheering for her. Lisa felt hope growing in her chest. Maybe she could do this. Maybe she could tire him out and find a way to win. She moved in for another attack. But she made a mistake. She stayed. Too close for too long. Korthak's hand shot out and grabbed her arm. His grip was like a metal clamp. She could not get free. "Now you die, little human," Korthak said in his deep voice. He lifted Lisa off the ground with one hand. She tried to hit him with her free hand, but she could not reach anything important. He was holding her too far away. Then Korthak pulled back his other arm. His fist was as big as Lisa's head. She could see her reflection in his yellow eyes. She could see that he was going to hit her as hard as he could. Time seemed to slow down. Lisa thought about Earth. She thought about all the people who were watching this fight. She thought about Admiral Harrison and how disappointed he would be. She thought about her parents back home who had told her they were proud of her. Korthak's fist moved toward her chest. The impact felt like being hit by a truck. Lisa heard something crack inside her body. The world went white with pain. She could not breathe. She could not think. She hit the ground hard and did not move. The crowd exploded with noise. Korthak raised his arms above his head and roared. The sound echoed through the arena like thunder. Lisa lay on the cold metal platform, trying to remember how to breathe. Her chest felt like it was on fire. Every time she tried to take air into her lungs, sharp pain shot through her body. Through the noise of the crowd, she could hear the referee counting. 1, 2, 3. She tried to move, but her body would not listen to her. Everything hurt too much. 4, 5, 6. The lights above the arena seemed to be getting dimmer, or maybe that was just her eyes closing. 7, 8, 9. Lisa heard Admiral Harrison shouting her name, but his voice sounded far away. 10. The referee raised his arm toward Korthak. Winner, Korthak the Destroyer. Human medical personnel ran onto the platform with emergency equipment. They carefully lifted Lisa onto a stretcher and carried her away, while Korthak continued celebrating his victory. War Chief Thorgrim stood up in his seat again. His voice filled the arena. "This is what happens when weak species try to fight the strong," he said. "Let this be a lesson to all who watch. The Vrakari are supreme." As Lisa was carried out of the arena, she could still hear the crowd cheering for Korthak. But somewhere in her broken body, a small flame of anger began to burn. This was not over, not by a long way. Lisa woke up 3 hours later in the medical bay of Nexus Prime Station. White lights hurt her eyes when she tried to open them. Machines around her bed made soft beeping sounds. Tubes and wires were connected to her arms. Dr. Helen Carter, the human medical officer, was checking readings on a screen next to the bed. When she saw Lisa was awake, she smiled, but her eyes looked worried. "How do you feel?" Dr. Carter asked. Lisa tried to speak, but her throat was dry. Dr. Carter gave her some water through a straw. The cool liquid felt good. "Like I got hit by a spaceship," Lisa said. Her voice was weak and scratchy. "You have 3 broken ribs and severe bruising on your chest," Dr. Carter said. "The alien medical technology here is very advanced. You will heal, but it will take time." Lisa tried to sit up, but pain shot through her chest. She fell back onto the pillows. "Did anyone else get hurt?" "No. Just you." "The fight is over, Lisa. You need to rest now." But Lisa could not rest. She could still hear the crowd cheering for Korthak. She could still see War Chief Thorgrim standing up and calling humans weak. The memory made her angry, and the anger made the pain feel less important. Admiral Harrison came into the medical bay an hour later. His gray hair was messy and his uniform was wrinkled. He looked like he had not slept. He sat down in a chair, next to Lisa's bed. "I should never have let you fight," he said quietly. "It was my choice," Lisa said. "Someone had to try. And now what do we have to show for it? You nearly died in there, Lisa. For what? So a bunch of aliens could laugh at us?" Before Lisa could answer, loud voices came from the corridor outside. They could hear someone speaking in the harsh language of the Vrikari. The voices were getting closer. The door to the medical bay opened. War Chief Thorgrim walked in, followed by two of his warriors. Dr. Carter stepped forward to stop them. "This is a medical facility," she said. "You cannot come in here." Thorgrim looked down at her. He was so tall that his head almost touched the ceiling. "I go where I wish, small human." Admiral Harrison stood up. His hand moved toward the weapon on his belt, but he did not draw it. That would cause a diplomatic incident. "What do you want, Thorgrim?" Harrison asked. Thorgrim walked over to Lisa's bed. His yellow eyes looked down at her broken body. "I want to see the great human warrior who challenged our champion." "You have seen her. Now leave," Harrison said. But Thorgrim did not leave. Instead, he started laughing. It was a deep, ugly sound that filled the medical bay. "This is your best fighter," he said. "This small broken thing? My younglings could defeat her." Lisa felt her face get hot with anger. She tried to sit up again, ignoring the pain in her chest. "I am not finished with you yet," she said. Thorgrim laughed even louder. "You are finished, human. You are all finished. Your species is too weak to belong among the stars." "We belong here as much as you do," Harrison said. "Do you?" Thorgrim asked. He walked to the window that looked out into space. Beyond the glass, they could see the lights of many different spaceships from many different worlds. Every species out there has proven their strength. The Zephyrians conquered 12 systems before joining the galactic community. The Mordians defeated a machine rebellion that lasted 50 years. Even the small Quillen people fought off an invasion by space pirates. He turned back to face the humans. "What have your people done? You fight wars among yourselves on one small planet. You have barely learned to travel between stars. You are children playing with toys. We have as much right to be here as anyone," Lisa said. Her voice was getting stronger as her anger grew. "Rights must be earned," Thorgrim said. "Respect must be taken, not given. Your people understand neither of these things." Admiral Harrison stepped closer to the Vrikari leader. "What are you trying to say?" Thorgrim smiled, showing his sharp teeth. "I am saying that if humans want to be treated as warriors, they must prove they are warriors. Not in some arena game, but in a real test of courage and skill." "What kind of test?" Lisa asked. Thorgrim's smile got wider. "On my homeworld of Vrakthar stands the great fortress of our people. In the highest tower of that fortress hangs the banner of conquest. It has flown there for 1,000 years. No enemy has ever taken it. No enemy has ever even reached it." He paused and looked at each of the humans in turn. "If your people are truly warriors, let them come and take our banner. Bring it back, here and show it to the galaxy. Do this and we will call you equals." Admiral Harrison stared at him. "You want us to invade your homeworld and steal your battle flag? I want you to try," Thorgrim said. "Though of course you will not. Because you know what I know. Humans are not warriors. They are weak creatures who hide behind technology and words." The medical bay became very quiet. The only sounds were the beeping machines and the soft hum of the station's air system. Lisa looked at Admiral Harrison. She could see him thinking about what Thorgrim had said. She knew he was trying to decide if this was a trap or just an insult. "Even if we wanted to try," Harrison said slowly, "it would be suicide. Your homeworld is protected by orbital defense stations. Your fortress is guarded by your best warriors. You are asking us to throw away human lives for nothing. Then you admit you are too weak to try, Thorgrim said. I admit I am not stupid enough to waste good people on an impossible mission, Harrison replied. Thorgrim nodded as if Harrison had proved his point. This is why humans will never be more than pets in the galactic community. You think too much. You worry too much. True warriors act when action is needed. He started walking toward the door, but Lisa called out to stop him. Wait, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. She was sitting up in bed now despite the pain in her chest. Her eyes were bright with fever and determination. Tell me about this banner, she said. Lisa. No, Admiral Harrison said. But she ignored him. Thorgrim stopped walking. He seemed interested in what she had to say. What do you want to know, broken human? Where did it come from? This banner of conquest. It is the battle standard of our people. It has led us to victory in 100 wars. But where did it come from originally? Lisa asked again. Thorgrim's expression changed slightly. For just a moment, he looked uncomfortable. That is not important. I think it is, Lisa said. I studied your people before the fight. I read about your history. That banner belonged to the Kalari people first, did it not? Before you conquered them. The room became even quieter. Thorgrim's warriors looked at their leader, waiting to see what he would say. The Kalari were weak, Thorgrim said finally. We took their banner when we took their worlds. That is the way of war. The Kalari were artists and scientists, Lisa said. They never hurt anyone. Your people wiped them out just to take their territory. What is your point, human? Lisa looked directly into his yellow eyes. My point is that banner does not belong to you. It belongs to the memory of a people you destroyed. If someone were to take it from you and return it to its rightful place, that would not be theft. That would be justice. Thorgrim's face showed surprise, then anger. He had not expected the broken human to know about the true history of the banner. Pretty words, he said. But words do not win wars. Your people are still too weak to take what they want. Maybe, Lisa said, but maybe not. Admiral Harrison moved closer to her bed. Lisa, you are injured and not thinking clearly. We cannot risk human lives on something like this. But Lisa was not listening to him anymore. She was thinking about the Kalari people who had been destroyed. She was thinking about the banner that had been stolen from them. She was thinking about all the aliens who had laughed when she was knocked down. We will do it, she said. Thorgrim laughed again. You? You can barely sit up in bed. Not me alone, Lisa said, but humans. We will take your banner and return it where it belongs. This is madness, Admiral Harrison said. This is exactly what I hoped you would say, Thorgrim said. He looked very pleased with himself. I will make sure all the galaxy knows about your promise. When you fail to even try, everyone will see that humans are cowards as well as weaklings. And when we succeed, Lisa asked. If you succeed, Thorgrim said, which you will not, then I will personally welcome humanity as a warrior species, but do not worry about that. It will never happen. He walked to the door and stopped. You have 1 month to make your attempt. After that, I will tell everyone that humans are too frightened to even try. He left the medical bay with his warriors. Following behind him, Admiral Harrison sat down heavily in his chair. He put his head in his hands. Lisa, what have you done? I have given us a chance, she said. A chance to get killed for no good reason. Lisa looked out the window at the stars beyond. Somewhere out there was Vrakthar. Somewhere out there was a banner that belonged to a dead people who deserved to be remembered. There are worse things than dying, she said. Like living as a coward. Admiral Harrison looked at her for a long time. Finally, he stood up and walked to the communication panel on the wall. What are you doing? Lisa asked. I am sending a message to Earth Command, he said. If we are going to do this impossible thing, we are going to do it right. 2 weeks after the challenge, Colonel Pete Adams sat in a dark room deep inside Earth's military headquarters. On the table in front of him were files about the 5 best soldiers he had ever known. These were people who had done things that others said could not be done. The door opened and Admiral Harrison walked in. Behind him came Lisa Morgan. She was walking slowly, and her face was still pale, but she was out of the medical bay. Her ribs were healing but still hurt when she moved too fast. "Are these our people?" Lisa asked, looking at the files. "The best we have," Colonel Adams said. "Each one has skills we will need for this mission." He opened the first file. "Sergeant Amy Foster. She knows more about explosives than anyone in the military. She can make a bomb out of kitchen supplies or disable one while people are shooting at her." The second file showed a young man with dark hair. "Corporal Danny Kim, computer, specialist. He can hack into any system ever built. If it has circuits, he can control it." The third file had a picture of a woman with short red hair. "Lieutenant Kate Murphy, the best pilot in the fleet. She can fly anything with engines and make it do things the designers never thought possible." The fourth file showed a tall man with serious eyes. "Staff Sergeant Chris Taylor, infiltration specialist. He can get into places that are supposed to be impossible to enter. Then he can get out again without anyone knowing he was there." Admiral Harrison picked up the files and looked through them. "These are all good soldiers, but this mission is not like anything they have done before." "It is not like anything anyone has done before," Colonel Adams said. "But if anyone can do it, it is these 4 people." Lisa sat down carefully in a chair. Her ribs still hurt, but she was getting stronger every day. "What do we know about Vrakthar, Colonel?" Adams touched a control on the table. The lights went down and a hologram appeared in the air above them. It showed a planet covered with red and brown continents. Around the planet were dozens of space stations bristling with weapons. "Vrakthar is the most heavily defended world in Vrakari space," he said. 24 orbital battle stations surround the planet. Each one has enough firepower to destroy a fleet. The hologram zoomed in to show the planet's surface. Cities covered most of the land, but one city was much larger than the others. In the center of that city was a massive fortress that looked like a metal mountain. "This is the capital city," Colonel Adams continued. "The fortress in the center is called the Iron Spire. It is where the Vrakari government meets and where their military leaders live." The image zoomed in even more. Now they could see the Iron Spire clearly. It was a tower that reached high into the sky, surrounded by smaller buildings and defensive walls. "The banner of conquest hangs in a chamber at the very top of the spire," Colonel Adams said. "Getting to it means getting through every level of security the Vrakari have." Admiral Harrison shook his head. "Even if we could get past the orbital defenses, even if we could land on the planet without being detected, even if we could get into the fortress, how would we get out? The moment they discover the banner is gone, they will lock down everything." "That is the biggest problem," Colonel Adams agreed. "We would need a way to get our people off the planet very quickly." Lisa was studying the hologram carefully. She had been thinking about this problem for days. "What about their sensor systems?" she asked. "How do they detect approaching ships?" Colonel Adams touched the control again. The hologram changed to show a technical diagram. "They use a network of sensor satellites and ground-based detection arrays, very advanced. They can spot a ship from very far away." "But what about interference?" Lisa asked. "Are there any natural phenomena that might block their sensors?" Colonel Adams looked interested. "Actually, yes. Vrakthar has 3 moons. When they align in certain positions, their gravitational fields create interference with electronic systems." He manipulated the hologram to show the planet and its 3 moons. During maximum interference, their sensor coverage drops significantly. But it only lasts for about 17 minutes every few days. 17 minutes, Lisa said quietly. "Is that enough time? For what we need to do?" "Probably not," Admiral Harrison said. "Getting into the fortress alone would take longer than that." But Lisa was smiling for the first time since her fight with Korthak. "Maybe not if we think about this differently." She stood up and walked closer to the hologram. Everyone expects us to attack like a military force. Big ships, lots of soldiers, direct assault. That is how the Vrkari would do it. That is how most species would do it, Colonel Adams said. But we are not most species, Lisa said. We are humans. We solve problems differently, she pointed to the fortress. What if we do not attack at all? What if we just walk in? Admiral Harrison stared at her. Walk in? Lisa, this is the most secure facility in Vrkari space. Exactly. It is. So secure that they do not expect anyone to even try getting in quietly. Their defenses are designed to stop armies, not individuals. Lisa began pacing around the room, her mind working fast. The Vrkari think like warriors. They understand strength and direct conflict. But do they understand deception? Do they understand misdirection? Colonel Adams was starting to look interested. What are you thinking? I am thinking that the Vrkari have one major weakness, Lisa said. Their pride. They are so sure of their own superiority that they cannot imagine anyone being clever enough to fool them. She turned to face the others. We do not need to fight our way in. We need to trick our way in. Over the next hour, Lisa explained her idea. It was so simple that it seemed impossible. It was so crazy that it might actually work. The plan required perfect timing, incredible skill, and a lot of luck. But most importantly, it required the kind of thinking that only humans seem to do naturally. We will need special equipment, Lisa said. Things that do not exist yet. Like what? Admiral Harrison asked. Adaptive camouflage suits that can mimic Vrkari biosignatures, micro-explosives that can cut through their armor plating without making noise, and a communication system that works faster than their jamming technology. Colonel Adams nodded. Our research teams have been working on prototypes of all those things. This mission might be the push they need to finish them. How long do we have? Lisa asked. 2 weeks before the next optimal sensor window, Admiral Harrison said. After that, we wait another month for the next opportunity. 2 weeks to get ready for the most dangerous mission in human history, Colonel Adams said. I have seen easier jobs. Lisa looked at the hologram of Vrakthar one more time. Somewhere in that fortress was a banner that belonged to a dead people. Somewhere in that fortress was the proof that humans belonged among the stars. When do we meet the team? She asked. Tomorrow morning, Colonel Adams said. Are you sure you are ready for this? Your injuries are still healing. My injuries are not important, Lisa said. What is important is showing the galaxy that humans do not give up. Admiral Harrison walked over to her. Lisa, I have to ask you something. Are you doing this for the right reasons? Or are you doing this because you want revenge on Thorgrim? Lisa thought about the question for a moment. She remembered lying on the arena floor unable to breathe while Korthak celebrated above her. She remembered Thorgrim calling humans weak and cowardly. Both, she said honestly. I want to prove him wrong about humans, but I also want to see his face when we do the impossible. The next morning, the 5 people who would attempt the mission met in a secure briefing room. Lisa had read their files, but seeing them in person was different. Amy Foster was smaller than Lisa had expected, but her eyes were sharp and intelligent. She had the steady hands of someone who worked with dangerous things every day. Danny Kim looked like he was barely old enough to be in the military, but when he talked about computer systems, his voice had the confidence of an expert. Kate Murphy had the relaxed posture of someone who was comfortable in dangerous situations. She moved like a pilot, always aware of her balance and surroundings. Chris Taylor was quiet and seemed to study everyone in the room. He was the kind of person who noticed things that others missed. I know what you are all thinking, Lisa said to the group. This mission is suicide. The odds of success are almost zero. Any sane person would refuse to go. The 4 soldiers looked at each other, then back at Lisa. Good thing we are not sane, Amy said with a grin. When do we leave? Kate asked. In 10 days, Lisa said. That gives us time to train with the new equipment and memorize every detail of the fortress layout. Danny raised his hand. I have been studying their computer systems. I think I can get us through their electronic security, but we will only have one chance. If I make a mistake, alarms will sound throughout the entire fortress. Then do not make a mistake, Chris said simply. For the next 10 days, the team trained harder than they had ever trained before. They practiced with the new adaptive camouflage suits until they could put them on in complete darkness. They memorized the layout of the Iron Spire until they could navigate it with their eyes closed. Amy learned to make explosives from materials they might find on Vrakthar. Danny studied Vrakari computer languages until he could hack their systems as easily as human ones. Kate practiced flying stolen Vrakari ships using simulator programs. Chris learned to move and act like a Vrakari worker. The stolen Vrakari transport ship moved through space toward the red planet of Vrakthar. Inside the ship, 5 humans sat in silence. They wore the dark green uniforms of Vrakari maintenance workers. Their faces were hidden behind masks that made them look like the alien species they were pretending to be. Lisa checked her equipment one more time. The adaptive camouflage suit felt strange against her skin. It was designed to copy the heat signature and bio readings of a Vrakari. If it worked correctly, their sensors would not be able to tell the difference. 2 minutes to sensor interference window, Kate said from the pilot's seat. She was flying the ship with the skill of someone who had studied Vrakari flight patterns for weeks. Danny was working at a computer terminal, his fingers moving quickly over the alien controls. I am ready to transmit our fake identification codes as soon as the window opens. Amy sat next to a bag full of small devices that looked like ordinary tools. But each one was actually a carefully designed explosive. She had made them to cut through Vrakari metal without making noise or light. Chris was studying a handheld device that showed the layout of the Iron Spire. He had memorized every corridor, every room, every security checkpoint they would need to pass. Remember, Lisa said quietly, we have exactly 17 minutes from the moment we land until their sensors come back online. After that, we are on our own. The ship shook slightly as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Through the small windows, they could see the lights of the capital city growing larger below them. Interference starting now, Kate announced. All their long-range sensors should be blind. Danny's hands moved over his controls. Sending identification codes. Accepted. We are cleared to land at Maintenance Dock 7. The transport ship settled onto a landing platform on the edge of the city. Around them, other ships were landing and taking off. Vrakari workers moved cargo and checked equipment. Everything looked normal. Suits active, Lisa said. She felt the camouflage technology come online. According to her readings, she now appeared to be a Vrakari female worker. The team left the ship and walked across the landing platform. Their false identification badges got them through the first security checkpoint without problems. The Vrakari guards barely looked at them. So far so good, Chris whispered through their communication system. They boarded a transport vehicle that carried workers into the city. Lisa watched the Iron Spire growing larger as they got closer. It was even more impressive in person than it had been in the hologram. The tower stretched up into the clouds, its metal walls reflecting the light of the planet's 3 moons. 15 minutes left in the interference window, Danny reported quietly. The transport stopped at a worker entrance to the fortress. More security checkpoints waited for them here. Lisa felt her heart beating faster as they approached the first guard station. A large Vrakari guard held out his hand for their identification. Lisa handed over her fake badge, trying to look bored like a real worker would. The guard scanned the badge with a handheld device. For a moment that felt like forever. He stared at the readings. Then he handed the badge back and waved them through. They were inside the Iron Spire. The corridors were huge, designed for beings much larger than humans. The ceilings were high above their heads and the walls were covered with carvings showing Vrakari victories in battle. Red lights provided dim illumination. Chris led them through the maze of passages toward the central elevator shaft. They passed other workers and a few guards, but no one paid attention to 5 more maintenance personnel. 10 minutes left, Danny whispered. They reached the elevator area. Here was their first real challenge. The elevator that went to the top of the spire was restricted. Only high-ranking Vrakari were allowed to use it. But Danny had planned for this. He approached the elevator, control panel, and connected a small device to it. His fingers moved quickly over a portable computer. Hacking their access system, he said quietly. Almost got it. There. The elevator doors opened with a soft sound. They stepped inside quickly. Which floor? Amy asked. Level 97, Lisa said. That is where the banner chamber is located. The elevator began to rise. Through the transparent walls, they could see the city falling away below them. The lights looked like stars spread across the darkness. 7 minutes left in the window, Danny reported. Lisa felt her ribs aching from the stress, but she ignored the pain. They were so close now. Just a few more minutes and they would reach the banner. The elevator stopped at level 97. The doors opened to reveal a corridor that was different from the ones below. This level was clearly more important. The walls were decorated with expensive materials and the lighting was brighter. Remember, Lisa said as they stepped out, the banner chamber is at the end of this corridor. There will be guards. They walked quietly down the hallway. At the far end, they could see 2 Vakari guards standing beside large metal doors. The guards were wearing the armor of elite warriors. Chris moved ahead of the group. He approached the guards with confidence, acting like he belonged there. Maintenance. Check on the environmental systems, he said in the Vakari language he had learned. One of the guards looked suspicious. No maintenance was scheduled. Emergency repair, Chris replied. Air filtration problem in the banner chamber. The guards looked at each other. For a moment, Lisa thought they would refuse to let them pass. Then the first guard stepped aside. Make it quick, he said. The doors opened and the team walked into the banner chamber. The room took Lisa's breath away. It was circular with a high domed ceiling. The walls were covered with paintings showing the history of the Vakari people. And hanging in the center of the room, suspended by invisible energy fields, was the banner of conquest. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. The banner was made of a material that seemed to glow with its own light. Symbols and pictures covered its surface, telling the story of the Kalari people who had created it long ago. 3 minutes left, Danny whispered urgently. Amy was already working on the energy field generators that held the banner in place. Her small tools cut through the alien technology with precise movements. I need 2 more minutes, she said. Do not have 2 minutes, Lisa replied. Danny, can you extend the interference window? Danny was working frantically at his portable computer. I am trying to overload one of their orbital sensor stations. If I can make it malfunction, it might. Give us a few extra minutes. Lisa watched Amy work on the energy field. The banner was still floating in the center of the room, just out of reach. 30 seconds, Danny said. His voice was tight with stress. Amy made one final cut with her tool. The energy field flickered and went out. The banner of conquest fell, gently into her waiting hands. Got it, she said. At that moment, alarms began sounding throughout the fortress. Red lights flashed and a loud voice spoke in the Vakari language. Sensor interference ending, the voice announced. All stations return to full alert status. They will discover we are here any moment, Chris said. Lisa took the banner from Amy. It was lighter than she had expected, but she could feel the weight of history in her hands. This piece of cloth represented the memory of an entire civilization. We need to get out of here now, she said. They ran from the banner chamber. The guards outside were confused by the alarms and did not immediately realize what had happened. By the time they understood, the team was already at the elevator, but the elevator would not work. Danny tried to override the controls, but the system had been locked down. Emergency security protocol, he said. All elevators are stopped. Then we used the stairs, Lisa said. The stairwell was narrow and poorly lit. 97 floors down, to ground level. Lisa's ribs screamed with pain as they began running down the steps, but she did not slow down. Behind them, they could hear shouting voices and heavy footsteps. The guards had discovered the theft and were coming after them. They are gaining on us, Kate said, looking back up the stairwell. Amy reached into her bag and pulled out several small devices. These should slow them down, she said. She attached the devices to the stairwell walls and activated them. The explosions were small but effective. Parts of the stairwell collapsed, blocking the path behind them. They kept running down the stairs. Lisa's legs felt like they were on fire and her chest hurt with every breath. But she kept going. The banner was folded and tucked inside her uniform. She could not let it be recaptured. 40 more floors, Chris said. More alarms were sounding now. Through the small windows in the stairwell, they could see searchlights moving across the city. The entire fortress was waking up. They know what we took, Danny said. Listen to the announcements. The Vrikari voice over the speakers was talking about the stolen banner. It was calling for all warriors to find the thieves and recover their sacred artifact. 30 floors, Kate said. Lisa stumbled and almost fell. The pain in her chest was getting worse. Chris caught her arm and helped her keep going. I am fine, she said, but her voice was weak. 20 floors, Amy announced. They could hear new sounds from above. The Vrikari had found another way around. The collapsed stairs. Heavy footsteps were echoing down the stairwell toward them. 10 floors, Chris said. Lisa looked up and saw lights moving above them. Their pursuers were getting closer. 5 floors, Kate said. Lisa pressed her back against the cold metal wall and listened to the footsteps of Vrikari guards passing in the corridor beyond. Her chest hurt with every breath, but she clutched the banner of conquest tighter against her body. We are trapped, Chris whispered. There are guards at every exit. The team was hiding in a maintenance room deep inside the iron spire. Through the small window in the door, they could see armed Vrikari warriors searching room by room. It would not be long before they were found. The landing platform where we left our ship is 3 kilometers away, Kate said quietly. We will never make it through the city with this many guards looking for us. Danny was working on his portable computer, trying to find another way out. I can access their communication system, he said. They have over 1,000 soldiers searching for us right now. Amy opened her bag and counted her remaining explosives. I have enough charges to make a distraction, but not enough to blast our way out of here. Lisa looked at each member of her team. These people had followed her into an impossible situation. They had trusted her plan, and now they were all going to die because of her choice. But then she remembered something Admiral Harrison had taught her years ago. When facing impossible odds, do not think about what you cannot do. Think about what your enemy does not expect you to do. We are not going to run, Lisa said suddenly. The others stared at her. What do you mean? Chris asked. Everyone expects us to try to escape. The guards are looking for 5 humans trying to sneak out of the fortress. But what if we do not try to escape? Lisa, Kate said carefully, we have to get out of here. We have to get the banner off this planet. Yes, but not the way they expect. Lisa's eyes were bright with a new idea. What is the one place in this fortress where they would never think to look for us? Amy thought for a moment. Somewhere we have already been? Exactly. The banner chamber. Danny looked confused. But that is where we stole the banner from. It will be crawling with guards. Right now, yes. Security teams are examining the chamber, looking for clues about how we got in. But what happens after they finish their investigation? Chris began to understand. They will lock it down and leave it empty. There would be no reason to guard a room that no longer contains what we came to steal. And it is at the top of the spire, Lisa continued. The perfect place for a pickup. Kate's eyes widened. You want to call for extraction from the banner chamber? It is crazy enough that it might work, Amy said slowly. Lisa activated her communication device. It used quantum technology that could send messages faster than the Vrikari jamming systems could stop them. Admiral Harrison, this is Lisa. Do you copy? A few seconds later, Harrison's voice came through the device. Lisa, thank God. We have been monitoring Vrikari communications. The entire planet is looking for you. We have the banner, Lisa said. But we need immediate extraction. From where? Every landing site on the planet is under heavy guard. Lisa took a deep breath. From the top of the iron spire, the banner chamber. There was silence from the other end of the communication. Then Harrison's voice came back, sounding shocked. Lisa, that is the most defended location on the planet. Our ships cannot get close enough. They can if we give them a reason to, Lisa said. Amy, how much explosive do you have left? Amy checked her bag again. Enough for maybe 20 small charges. What if we combine them all into one big explosion? Amy's face went pale. That would be very big. But Lisa, if we set off an explosion that size in the lower levels of the spire, the whole tower might collapse. Exactly. The team stared at Lisa in shock. You want to bring down the iron spire? Chris asked. Not bring it down, just make it look like we are trying to bring it down. The Vrkari will have to choose between chasing us and saving their fortress. Danny was already working on his computer. If I can access their emergency systems, I can make it look like structural supports are failing throughout the building. How long do we have? Kate asked. Lisa looked at her watch. It has been 2 hours since we stole the banner. The security team should be finishing their investigation of the banner chamber soon. Amy began combining her remaining explosives into one large device. This will make a lot of noise and smoke, but the real damage will be minimal. However, their sensors will show massive structural stress. And while they are trying to save their precious fortress, Lisa said, we slip back to the top and call for pickup. They spent the next 30 minutes preparing. Amy finished building her mega explosive. Danny hacked deeper into the fortress. Computer systems. Chris found a service tunnel that would take them back to the upper levels. Kate studied the fortress layout to find the best route. Lisa felt her ribs protesting every movement, but she ignored the pain. They were so close to succeeding, she would not let her injuries stop them now. Ready? She asked. The team nodded. Amy placed her explosive device in the fortress's main power distribution center. When it went off, it would cause electrical failures throughout the building while Danny's hacked systems reported structural damage. Explosive set, Amy announced. We have 10 minutes before it goes off. They climbed through maintenance tunnels and service shafts, making their way back toward the upper levels of the spire. The banner of conquest felt heavier with each floor. They climbed, but Lisa refused to let anyone else carry it. 5 minutes, Amy said. They reached the corridor outside the banner chamber. Just as Lisa had predicted, it was empty. The security teams had finished their investigation and moved on to search other areas. Chris quickly picked the lock on the chamber doors. They slipped inside and closed the doors behind them. The chamber looked different now. The energy field. Generators were damaged from Amy's earlier work. Scorch marks on the wall showed where the security teams had tested for explosive residue. 2 minutes, Amy announced. Lisa activated her quantum communicator again. Admiral Harrison, we are in position for extraction. Lisa, I still do not see how we can get a ship to you. The air defenses around that spire will shoot down anything that gets close. Trust me, Lisa said. In 2 minutes, those defenses are going to have bigger problems to worry about. The explosion came right on schedule. Even 97 floors. Above the blast, they felt the spire shake. Emergency lights began flashing and alarms sounded throughout the fortress. Danny's fingers flew over his computer, activating fake damage reports now. Throughout the iron spire, computer screens began showing critical structural failures. Support beams were supposedly cracking. Foundations were allegedly shifting. The fortress's automated systems reported that the building was in danger of collapse. Through the chamber's windows, they could see Vrkari soldiers running in panic through the city below. Emergency vehicles raced toward the fortress. The air defense systems that normally protected the spire were being shut down so that rescue ships could approach. Now, Lisa said into her communicator, send the extraction ship now. Kate was watching through the window. I can see it, she said. Human ship incoming fast. The rescue ship was one of Earth's newest stealth vessels. It approached the spire from above, using the chaos below as cover. Vrkari fighters that might have intercepted it were busy evacuating personnel from the supposedly collapsing fortress. The ship hovered outside the chamber's large window. A docking tube extended from its side and attached to the window frame with magnetic clamps. Go, 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 Lisa shouted. Amy and Danny went first, crawling through the docking tube into the ship. Chris followed them. Kate went next. Lisa was the last to leave. As she crawled through the tube, she looked back at the banner chamber one more time. Then she pulled the banner of conquest through the tube with her. The ship detached from the spire and accelerated away from the planet. Below them, the Iron Spire still stood tall and undamaged, but Vrikari emergency teams continued to swarm around it, believing it was about to fall. "We did it," Kate said in amazement. "We actually did it." Lisa held up the banner of conquest. In the ship's lights, the ancient symbols seemed to glow. "We did more than that. We proved that humans belong among the stars." 3 days later, Lisa stood before the Galactic Council on Nexus Prime Station. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the great assembly hall. In the front row sat War Chief Thorgrim, his face dark with anger and shame. Lisa held the banner of conquest high above her head so that every being in the hall could see it. "This banner was created by the Kalari people over 1,000 years ago," she said. Her voice echoed through the hall. "It represents their hopes, their dreams, and their culture. The Vrikari took it when they destroyed the Kalari civilization." She walked to the center of the hall. "Today I return this banner to where it belongs, not as a trophy of war, but as a memorial to a people who should be remembered." She placed the banner in a special display case that had been prepared by the Galactic Historical Society. The case would preserve the banner and its story for future generations. War Chief Thorgrim stood up slowly. The entire hall became quiet. "You have done what I said could not be done," he said. His voice was heavy with grudging respect. "The Vrikari acknowledge that humans are warriors worthy of recognition." But Lisa was not finished. She turned to face Thorgrim directly. "I was knocked down in your arena," she said. "One blow from your champion and I could not get up.